vanilla ice cream, an old favourite. I'm a fan of traditional food. It's kind of what I've grown up with. I will, of course, experiment, but when it comes to desserts, I'm very particular. I've got a huge sweet tooth, and chocolate is my absolute favourite. I try not to eat too much, but it doesn't always work out. Yes, so I would normally just buy a nice thick fudge cake, but for the purposes of this video and the fact that I couldn't cheat if I was on Come Dine With Me, because you would get marked down by your guests if I bought one. So we're going to make one. So what we'd need to create a fudge cake would be self-raising flour, cocoa powder, bicarbonate of soda, caster sugar, 2 eggs, sunflower oil, semi-skimmed milk, golden syrup, and that is for the cake itself, and for the coating and filling, unsalted butter, icing sugar, cocoa powder, and a drop of milk. So with all those ingredients in front of me in my virtual kitchen, I would first of all preheat my oven to 350 degrees Fahrenheit, or gas mark 4 if you have a gas oven. And then I would grease. Now to grease, I normally you would normally rub some butter or some oil onto the tin itself. Now I get 2 tins, which are roughly around a 7-inch sandwich tin, and if you grease and line those, have them ready, put them on the side, then I would sieve the self-raising flour. We'd normally use about 175 grams of self-raising flour. I would then add 2 teaspoons of cocoa powder, 1 teaspoon of bicarbonate soda, and mix into a bowl, adding the sugar, which is about 150 grams of caster sugar, and ensure that that is mixed very well. Once it's mixed very well, I'll make a little well in the center to make a little dip, a little ridge, and once that's created in the center of my mixture, I would add the syrup, which is 2 teaspoons of golden syrup. I would add 2 eggs, which I've beaten separately. Add a quarter of a pint of sunflower oil and a quarter of a pint of semi-skimmed milk. I'll beat well with an electric whisk until it's a very smooth texture. Once that's a very smooth texture, I would spoon the mixture into the 2 tins evenly, and then I place in the oven, which should now be very hot, for 25 to 30 minutes. Now luckily I've got one of those ovens with the glass door, and I can kind of peek in and see how my cake is doing. So yeah, when it's risen and firm to the touch, of course we'd have to open the oven door to check that. But yeah, once it's risen and firm to the touch, I would remove from the oven and leave to cool. Now once that is cooled, turn it out onto a cooling rack, if you have one of those. And then the cakes will then cool and go nice and firm. Now to make the butter icing to go in the cake. Place your about 75 grams of unsalted butter into a bowl. Add 175 grams of icing sugar and beat it until a nice soft texture. You then sift and beat in the icing sugar, which is and the cocoa powder, you would add 3 tablespoons of cocoa powder, and then just add enough milk, just a drop, to make the cake icing very fluffy and spreadable. You normally lift it with the whisk and just see, or the spoon, and just see if it gives those little points. Then you know it's nice and fluffy and spreadable. You know the texture when you see it. Now if your cake has risen a little too high, then you can use a serrated knife to even off the top. And what you do then is sandwich the cakes together with the butter icing and cover the sides and the top of the cake with more butter icing. And then leave that for a while. And then when you come to serve your chocolate cake, I would slice into nice big hearty slices, because it's a dessert and I always like generous helpings of dessert. I would then place each slice into the microwave for a few moments, just so it gets nice and hot and the sauce is nice and runny. And I would add a scoop of Cornish vanilla ice cream, which is beautiful, beautiful ice cream. And serve. No, I like the texture of hot and cold. That really works for me. You can also add hot fudge sauce if you like, hot chocolate sauce, and run that over the cake. It's very, very high on the chocolate thick steaks and very rich, but I'm sure my guests would love it. So yeah, that completes my virtual dinner party. Now, I've kind of read everything out in the wrong context. I would have marinated my pork steaks before the day I was cooking, and obviously I would have made my fudge cake the day before of the dinner party. So I would have been in a lot of trouble if I just started making everything there and then with my guests waiting, but I would have been fine about that. I would have set the table with a nice fresh tablecloth. I'm very particular with tablecloths. They've got to be nice and smooth, no wrinkles. I've often seen me running an iron over a tabletop if there's a crease in it. Yes, if you're ironing a table, obviously that will affect the wood underneath. Silly me, but I did that once, just because I got really annoyed with the crease on the tablecloth. But yeah, I would make sure that the tablecloth is nice and smooth and crisp and clean. I would set some colour coordinating placemats with nice gleaming cutlery and wine glasses. Get some nice candles for the tabletop, not scented ones where food is. I just go for standard candles, unscented. And once your food is created, it's just good conversation and lots of wine that you need. So I do hope you enjoy coming to my virtual dinner party. We'll have a lot of fun, and I hope to see you soon.